Hello, I'm continuing my reviews on the Planet of the Apes series with Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Now, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is the fourth film in the Planet of the Apes series. Now, this one is once again written by Paul Dehn, who also wrote Beneath the Planet of the Apes and Escape from the Planet of the Apes. The film is also directed by J. Lee Thompson, who before this directed the original Cape Fear, and he would go on to direct the fifth film in the Planet of the Apes series, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, and he would also go on to direct the 1981 slasher film Happy Birthday to Me, and I believe he also directed one of the Death Wish movies as well. Now, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes might actually be my favorite Planet of the Apes movie, at least out of the original series. Like, I think I might actually even like this better than the original film. Now, I think on a technical level, I would say this film is the second best in the series next to the original film, because even though I liked Beneath the Planet of the Apes and Escape from the Planet of the Apes, both those films definitely had their problems, but this film seems to be the most well done next to the original film. So I would say on a technical level, this film is right behind the original film as two of the best in the Planet of the Apes series, but on a personal level, I think I might like this even better than the first one. Like, my three favorite Planet of the Apes movies would have to be this one, the original one, and Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Like, those are my three personal favorites of the series. So, the plot of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is, it takes place years and years after the events of Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Now, in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, you had the characters of Zira and Cornelius from the first two movies actually go back in time to the year 1973, and in that movie you realized that Zira was pregnant, and towards the end of the movie she ended up giving birth to her baby, which her and Cornelius ended up naming Milo after their friend who was killed in the beginning of that movie. But in that movie there was this corrupt doctor named Dr. Heslin who wanted Milo destroyed because he realized that Milo will be the beginning of what will eventually be the Ape Uprising. So at the end of that movie, Dr. Heslin shot what he thought was baby Milo, and then Zira and Cornelius got shot as well, and basically at the very end of the movie you realize that the baby that Dr. Heslin shot was just a regular chimpanzee, and the real baby Milo was put in the care of a circus owner named Armando. So the film is set in the year 1991, and in the movie you find out that in the 80s a virus broke out and killed all the dogs and cats in the world, leaving humans without pets. So humans ended up using apes as pets, but when they realized how intelligent the apes were becoming, the apes ended up getting used as slaves, and now by the year 1991, apes are pretty much used as slaves for the humans, and now, America is now under the control of a somewhat authoritarian government, or at least it definitely appears to be some kind of police state, and even the police officers there look like they're SS officers because their uniforms look a lot like Nazi uniforms. The only thing that's missing is like a swastika on them, but literally the police officer uniforms look a lot like SS uniforms, pretty much. So in the movie you realize that Armando has been keeping Milo away from this all these years, but now he's finally explaining to Milo all that's happened in the last few years and why apes are now being used as slaves. And what happens is, in the movie Milo ends up getting renamed Caesar, but at a certain point in the movie, due to circumstances which I won't give away, Caesar and Armando have to separate separate, and Caesar ends up getting lumped together with all the other slave apes, and he ends up getting sold at a slave auction to a corrupt governor named Governor Beck. And what happens is, at a certain point in the movie, Armando ends up getting killed, which I won't give away how he gets killed, but when Caesar finds out about this, since Armando was really the only human that Caesar trusted, now Caesar has pretty much lost all faith in humanity, and now Caesar is trying to organize all the apes and is trying to lead a rebellion against the humans, and that's the basic plot line of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Now, in the movie, Caesar is actually played by Roddy McDowall, who played Cornelius in the first Planet of the Apes movie, and he played Cornelius in Escape from the Planet of the Apes. And also, Armando in the film is played by the same guy who played Khan in Star Trek. I think his name is Ricardo, Montalban. I'm probably butchering his last name. If I am, I'm sorry. But he's the same guy who played Khan in Star Trek. Now, as I said earlier in this review, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes might actually be my favorite Planet of the Apes film, at least out of the original series. This really is a very, very good movie, and like the first three films, this movie definitely has a lot of social commentary in it. This one seems to be a commentary on slavery and on hatred and prejudice. In the film, there's this man named McDonald, who's an African-American man, who's really the only human who's really sympathetic towards the apes, and there's this really great scene towards the end of the movie when Caesar has started the revolution. He gets into a huge fight with Caesar about how what he's doing is wrong, the way he's going about it is the wrong way to go about trying to gain their freedom, but you realize that it's almost like a never-ending cycle of hate. The humans hated the apes and treated the apes as slaves, but you realize that this revolution will eventually lead to apes taking over the world, and it eventually becoming like it was in the first movie. But you realize that the apes in the first movie hated humans and treated humans as slaves, so it kind of gives you the idea that humans and apes really aren't so different. So there's a lot of commentary on hatred and prejudice, and in that scene in the movie where McDonald is fighting with Caesar about this, he even says, as a person whose ancestors were slaves, I beg you to treat the humans with compassion, and it really is a very powerful scene. But in the movie, Caesar, he starts out as the protagonist, but kind of becomes the antagonist by the end of the movie. But it really is a very good movie, a very good installment of the Planet of the Apes series. Now, the 2011 film Rise of the Planet of the Apes was based very much on the plotline of this movie. Rise of the Planet of the Apes took a lot of elements from this movie. But yeah, that's my review on Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and stay tuned for my review on Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which is the 5th film in the Planet of the Apes series. Bye.